If you don't like to hear complaints about toys you might like, you might not want to watch this video. I kind of rambled and went on about McFarlane toys so much that I'm not even going to title this a chill review. It's a TMan moment, just so I can get my thoughts out there. I want to make sure that you know that I don't absolutely hate this figure, but it is definitely frustrating. Hello everyone, TMan978. Welcome to another chill review. This time it's McFarlane Toys 7-inch Fortnite Carbine right here. I was going to absolutely trash this toy in this review, but I played with it some more, and I like it more, but don't be confused, it's still aggravating. Number one, let me let go. These ankles are trash. This figure is made out of good quality, thick plastic. They didn't cut any corners on it, so it's too heavy for these weak ratchets they have in this universal joint and the ankle right there. And yes, that is universal. You have to like rotate it in order to get them ankle pivot and then rotate it to make them go forward and back. And this sculpting right there does go up under the boot if you try hard enough to get them a big kick forward. Anywho, you saw my toy hunt and I explained why I wanted this guy. I wanted him to go with my robot squad right here, who have some of the same articulation as this dude, but they do it way better. Like, here's one of my complaints. I complained about the ankles. All of them have this type of shoulder joint right there. But as you can see with this guy, he can like reach over. This dude has that same thing. It even pulls out. And he can like reach over and almost touch his other arm. What stops him is the musculature of the bicep right there. This dude has all that, but it like stops outward due to the way it's sculpted. Turn it this way and you're barely getting anything. So that's frustrating. And the main problem I have, and this guy reminds me of Sub-Zero. That's another reason I didn't mention that in the toy hunt. The hips. I wanted this guy or the black version because I saw that the hips were different from Drift right here and Rex, where they have this sculpting right there. I'm like, I remember this being higher. So I was figuring, and you see how you barely get any rotation outward. But with this guy, you can still kick forward decently easy. You can't go out too much at certain different angles. This guy, this is a soft piece right here. I've had other figures with soft pieces like that. But when you kick his leg up, it like turns outward 5 points of articulation style. You see that? Where it's twisting outward. I hate that. If it had a thigh cut right there that could swivel, this wouldn't bug me because it is going kind of straight. And here's another problem. If you guys are if McFarlane Toys is gonna keep making these things, they need to redesign these hips like crazy. Like, having the thigh rotation up here doesn't really help anything. And the fact that they don't have any like bulbous thing on the end of here to make sure that the legs stay locked on there, you're going to be frustrated every single time. So as I was messing with him at work though, I was forcing the leg forward, which bends that so you can force it and then rotate, but the amount of effort it takes to do something like that is frustrating. But you can do it. This neck rotates. It's sort of like SH figure art style, where the actual neck rotates and the head is on a double ball post, so it can look down a lot. Can look up as much as this back sculpting will allow. I mean, when you turn them, you can get them that way or get them to look up more. And that works good for what I like doing with the diaphragm. You can bend the diaphragm in a lot. It leaves this showing, but I don't mind because I typically would have them bent like this. And here's another situation. I took this off by accident after messing around with it. It took me forever to force that back in there on top of that ball. And boy, oh boy. Now this is going to be messed up for the rest of the review, I bet. Because it took me forever to mess with that and get that back in there. That was another issue I had with it last night. I was ready to throw this thing out of the window. But let's get into the rest of his articulation. Double jointed knees. I showed the ankles. And these toe joints, super duper loose. But as you can see, he has a ball joint there, ball joint there. The shoulders go out a lot. This is pliable, gets out of the way. Good. Bicep swivel, good. Double jointed elbows, good. Universal joints on the wrist, just like the ankles. Unlike the first two guys I got, this guy has a trigger finger, so he can actually hold his gun in a way that makes sense. Here is his little glider pack right there. Nicely painted. And oh yeah, this thing does have a lot of good paint and sculpting right there. So I like that. The eyes look better on the packaging than they do right here. And where is the harvesting tool? I like this. I like the way it's painted. Substantial plastic. It's not like hollow or anything. Mildly pliable. This hand right here has a tighter grip. And it is definitely good at holding this right here. Other issues. The arms are like loose. Like they shouldn't swing that freaking freely. Like both of them, to be honest. So, I don't know. I want to like these things more than I do. But they frustrate the crap out of me. To be honest with you, if the arms I can deal with, this articulation right here, good. Articulation and the neck, decent. Everything from here down is good because this is some awesome double jointed knees. This is all nice and good, but it doesn't hold his weight, which is probably one of the reasons why they put in these stands, and he does have pegs right there, because getting them to stand up even after you get them in the pose is rather difficult. But to show you, you can do poses like this and whatnot. Yeah. I like the thing, but I'm very, very disappointed. Let me just get to that so I can get to some other thoughts. That's my review. Buy them at your own risk. You can pose them, but just know that it's going to be very difficult to work around some of these shortcomings and whatnot. But he is posable and he does look good. But let me just get into McFarlane toys. They're putting this articulation in all of their newer figures that are coming out. I am not looking forward to Mortal Kombat as much as I thought I would be, now that I've actually played with some of these and see how frustrating this articulation is and see how the legs pop off. I'm going to have to ask Joe, does the One Punch Man Saitama's legs come off like this? But here are some pictures from him. And as you can see, the thing looks very stiff because McFarlane cares mostly about or Todd McFarlane specifically cares mostly about sculpting over articulation. So Joe is good at actually posing stuff. If you go to our Figure Action Instagram, you'll see some of his pictures and you'll see that he is good at posing. So the fact that he couldn't pose this Saitama is disappointing. Like, that Saitama looks way freaking more stiff than this. Like, this guy, if he didn't have the accessories that he comes with, he would be a lot less interesting. So I know if I got that Saitama, there would be nothing I'd be able to do with that guy, because he doesn't have any freaking weapons. And as you notice on the packaging, they're standing like that for a reason. You would think the designers would want to go all out to show you these 22 moving parts, but no, they're standing there static, and that's for a reason. Before I continue to keep trashing on these figures, like I said, if you work with them, like, I'm putting this hand right there, and I want it to have this arm straight out like this. If you work, you can get it into some type of decent pose, but you will definitely need a flight stand, and you'll need to use these bases right here. But like I said, this guy is heavy, so I want to have a pose like this with one leg up, but he's heavy and the ankles are whack, so I'm not capable of doing that. You have to have like 1 foot down. And this, with the stand on there, these loose toes work. But yeah, these things are frustrating, and I hope they get better, because they have the DC license and they have Mortal Kombat and Harry Potter and One Punch and My Hero Academia. So I'm hoping that they get better. But right now, I'm not too hopeful. These are frustrating. If you want to see a size comparison, here's this Astrobot, which is 1/12 scale. They're pretty close in size, but the Astrobot is supposed to be a really tall dude. Because here is a MCU Spider-Man right there. And just to give you somebody else, here is Black Series Mace Windu right there, who is a little bit taller than Spidey. But of course, this dude should be the same height as somebody like Drift. No, Drift is actually a little bit taller. Well, there you go with that. These things, to me, in my opinion, they can work with Marvel Legends if you just say that they're like a 7 foot tall dude, or 8 foot tall if you want. Like, since these don't exist in the Marvel universe, they could always just be some big bad villain or big bad robot or something like that. But anywho, I rambled long enough. I'm probably not even going to title this a review since I rambled so much. And yeah, I just wanted to get those thoughts out about these McFarlane figures more than anything else, more than just reviewing this, because some of this is frustrating. And I hope that they work on it in the future. One thing that I'm thinking about doing is maybe splitting this plastic halfway, splitting that so it'll work like a skirt. Maybe even cutting some of this right here so the legs will come up freely without it actually fighting me. Right now it's decently bending, but the more I raise it up, the more likely it's gonna pop up off that joint. Anywho, thank y'all for watching this. Until next time, TMan 978 out of here. Click the videos, click the videos, baby, click the videos. You should really click these videos. Click the videos. Click those fucking videos, baby. Click the videos. You really should click those videos. Click that shit.